Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Time for Q&A. And today I've got how many questions? 4 questions about sourdough and gluten-free bread, about wildfire smoke. Should you be getting your steps in outside or stay indoors rather? Any tips to navigate emotional eating and things about balance on these health journeys that many or maybe all of us are on. So we are going to dive right in. First question I've received was, what do you think about sourdough instead of gluten-free? I just can't get used to gluten-free. So gluten-free, I think, is fantastic for somebody who cannot tolerate gluten, somebody who is celiac. I personally, I don't eat a whole lot of bread. I really don't. If I do, it is going to be sourdough. I do my best to stay away from gluten, but sourdough isn't necessarily gluten-free. You can buy gluten-free sourdough, but I don't think it's super popular, or maybe I just haven't found it. So some of you can guide me in the right direction. But I brought up some hamburger buns that we use. We buy these at Costco. This brand you can find at Costco, the Grain Escape. These are gluten-free because I would rather eat gluten-free buns than regular hamburger buns. But it has like several ingredients. Now, sourdough has 4 main ingredients. It has flour, it has salt, it has water, and a starter. And the starter is usually flour and water. And it says here where wild yeasts and bacteria ferment. Now, gluten-free products aren't the best. Again, like, it's a processed food. They're putting things in here to obviously keep it shelf stable, to keep it from molding very quickly. But it has a gluten-free flour blend, water, sugars, so different sugars, sunflower oil, which I don't love because that's a seed oil that over time, if you're consuming a lot of products with seed oils, and there is some negatives to that. There's psyllium husk, potato fiber, yeast, modified cellulose, vinegar, sea salt, cultured cane sugar, and cellulose gum. So quite a few more ingredients in this gluten-free product. I have no issues with sourdough because of the fermentation process. It is easier for us to digest, and it's a lot easier on our blood sugar. So it's less likely for you to have blood sugar spikes, I should say. And it just is packed with a bunch of nutrients. So there's my 2 cents on sourdough versus gluten-free. Next question. With the smoke, there's been so much wildfire smoke. I'm not sure where you reside, but I know in Edmonton yesterday, it was so bad. I still went for my walk, tried to keep it a little bit shorter, but my nose was running, my eyes were watering. I've been getting more headaches. I know just in conversations with clients that people just haven't been feeling good. And I'm beginning to wonder if we're all just being impacted by this wildfire smoke. I'm hearing like loss of appetite, low energy, headaches, stuffiness, like just not feeling good. So is it better to get outside for your walk regardless, or is it better to stay inside and try to stay out of the smoke? I think it depends. Of course, it depends on how bad it is. Like today, yesterday was like over 10, the smoke index. Today says it's about a 2, even though I'm looking outside, like it looks quite smoky. It doesn't smell as smoky today. Depends on the individual. Depends if you have any underlying health conditions, obviously like kids, older adults do worse in smoke. So you want to keep those people out of the smoke. I wouldn't spend extended periods of time outside. If you are, then I would probably get a mask on just to help you out there. But things that can help support your body, because I think this is just a topic of conversation that we are unfortunately going to have every single summer, every single spring. These darn wildfires. So how can you support yourself? That is taking care of your liver. So castor oil packs are fantastic. Things like milk thistle are great. Bitter herbs are fantastic. So I drink a lot of nettle tea. Like I have one of these every single day. Nettle tea is great. Dandelion tea is great. Arugula is great. That just helps with liver detoxification. Making sure you're drinking a lot of water is very helpful. Getting re-mineralized as well. So if you're drinking a ton of water, even if you're not drinking a ton of water, re-mineralizing your water is such a great idea. Dry brushing is fantastic just to help move the lymph, which is helpful to move like toxins out of your body so that you do feel better. Movement is great. Whatever movement you like. It can be rebounding. I've got a trampoline, a little kid's trampoline here in my office. If you don't have one of those, even just doing this, like calf raises up and down, like this is ultimately rebounding. It helps to drain the lymph fluid from your body. We have to move in order to move those toxins in our body for it to be excreted through sweat, through urine, through our bowel movements. So making sure you're staying on top of your fiber, to make sure you're going to the bathroom, and like I already mentioned, water. A lot of water to help flush your system as well. And that's all I had on my list. Now, next question. Any tips to navigate emotional eating? And I think that this can be an entire live itself. So I'm not going to spend like a whole lot of time on it, because I do want to spend more time just kind of getting into like why we emotional eat. And then of course, tips and tricks. But today, just a few tips, I suppose. It's recognizing why you have these emotions, right? So starting an emotion diary is so helpful. The more you understand your habits, the better. And eating in response to emotions can happen automatically. And the more you understand how you feel when you do certain things, the better chance you are at changing things. So keep a record of, and it's work, right? To figure out deeply like why you're doing this, but keeping an emotional journal or diary of those times when you eat, when you're not physically hungry, and answering questions like, what was happening at the time? How are you feeling? Any emotions that you notice when you have the urge to eat can be hugely helpful. Like, did you eat right away? Did you ponder? Did it go back and forth in your head? Did you do something to distract yourself? The more you figure out like your tendencies, the better. And then finding other ways to cope. Once you have more information about those emotions, situations, thoughts that trigger eating, then you can start to make changes. So if you notice that you eat when you are always stressed, then stress is what needs attention. So you can think of things that you can do instead of eating to cope with your stress. And that can be moving your body. That can be banishing distractions. That can be practicing mindfulness, reading, some meditation, some journaling, that sort of thing. If you notice you eat when you are bored, because I know that's common, consider ways to manage your boredom. Like, what else could you do with your time to fill, I suppose, that boredom? So I'll leave it at that for today. Like I said, I'm going to dig a lot deeper here in the next couple weeks and talk about all the things emotional eating, because I used to struggle hugely with this. I know that I still have clients who struggle from time to time. And I think that every single human has struggled with this at one point or another, because we all have emotions. And I don't think we are taught good ways to cope. And this could stem from your childhood when you were very, very young. And it's just something that unfortunately has stuck, but there is hope and you absolutely can make some changes. Last question is, I don't know how to stop these dips in performance. Sometimes I feel really locked in, and other times I get annoyed. I can't eat all the things that I want. It's hard to find balance. Any tips? Again, I want to dig a lot deeper into this. I'm going to do like a separate live on this, on just how we approach reaching our goals. And sometimes the way, and I say sometimes, I say most of the time, that your approach might be unsustainable. Like, we have to do different things. We have to set boundaries in order to reach a certain result. Does that mean that these unsustainable approaches need to continue? No, the word itself says it's unsustainable. So then how do we switch to maintaining our results with more balance? I think if you have a specific goal, and this individual who wrote this is getting married in a few weeks. I think it's about 7 weeks, maybe 6 weeks at this time. And she's just struggling with like weekends and socializing, being surrounded with a lot of things that she wants to eat. And we just have to remember that at this point, balance might not be an option. And that's okay. Post-wedding, we can start, and I'm just using a wedding as an example. This can be any event or why you're choosing to want to lose fat and gain muscle and see changes in your body composition. And then it's finding ways after these events to pull your foot off the gas a little bit and find some habits that are more sustainable. And of course, yes, go out and socialize and have a drink, but sometimes we have to say no to alcohol. Sometimes we have to say no to going out for pizza and wings and beer if you have a goal to reach, right? So I think it comes down to it's a mindset. It's all about your mindset, that you need to decide or choose that at this point in time for 6 to 7 weeks, that you are setting boundaries, you're having conversations with those that are closer to you that will support you. And maybe instead of going for wings and beer and pizza, that you choose to go to, I can't even think, we don't eat out very much. Maybe you choose to go to the Keg and you have a steak and vegetables and a baked potato instead, right? Something like that. Or maybe you're choosing to just eat in, and then you just have more control over the food choices that you ultimately make. So that is it for today. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or any other tips that would be helpful to these questions today. I welcome them always. Enjoy the rest of your day.